Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SmackDown. Your substitute host, TehJew, here with you, and this program is brought to you by MuchGames.ca and the Foreign Exchangers. Okay, forgive me, it's been a while since I've done this on a regular basis, but, whatever, as my son would always say. This match is going to feature my son's best friend. And the thing about my son's best friend is I don't know much about him except for the fact that, he's, from what I understand, he's the son of a solar, what is it? I'm thinking of, someone who studies the sun, almost to the point where my son, TehJew 22, continuously how do I put this? My son refers to Brian Blair as the son of the sun, which I don't get, but, aside from that, the only other thing I know about Brian is that the man is a former drill worker from the great city, I should say, of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and I've been to Edmonton, especially during the years of Wayne Gretzky and the Oilers, back when they were actually good, and they were actually the champions back in the 80s. I'll never forget that. But needless to say that Brian Blair, is going to have his hands full against the former United States champion, Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes is going to want to get redemption, and what better way to do it than to take on a teammate of SlimKirby, the current reigning champion, than to beat his best friend and tag team partner, Brian Blair. So with that in mind, let's begin. Oh, and then a clothesline right to Brian Blair to begin the matchup, but, I'm still kind of shocked after what happened to my son, but forgive me, folks, it's just the concern of a father, over his son. But, as far as Brian Blair is concerned, it's pretty obvious that Cody Rhodes, though he's a young man, Cody Rhodes is more experienced in the wrestling profession than Brian Blair at this particular point, I should say, excuse me. I always end up saying the wrong words. But then again, I am getting old, so what else is new? Ooh, whipped into the corner was Brian Blair. And as far as Brian Blair is concerned, try not to make as many mistakes as a normal wrestler would. By a normal wrestler, I mean someone who has been in the ring for, 7 years max? 7 years is long enough to know what you're doing in there. And, Brian Blair, by all accounts, is a newcomer. He only has, 1 year of experience. That's it. So I would have to think that, it's pretty obvious that, oh, wow, look at those right hands and lefts, and ooh, and a nice hip toss. Much like what I used to do when I was a young man, but that isn't to say that Brian Blair reminds me of me, because I never was that jacked. I never had that much muscles to begin with, but, in fact, I was a bit, I wasn't to say fat, but I was, especially when I was a junior, but as the years went on, I would lose a little bit of pounds because I would, early on, with all the weight that I used to have, it kind of weighed me down. But then, as I got older, I had to make sure that I had to have a diet or something. Which, as cheesy as it might sound, it is true. Kick out by Brian Blair. For Brian, he has to find a way to outsmart Cody Rhodes. He has to find a unique offense of some sort Well, that's a good way to get started. Because as far as Cody Rhodes is concerned, he has the experience. He knows what he has to do. And for Bryan, this is going to be a school of hard knocks. Because it's just like the movie Annie. It's a hard knock life. And a nice combination of punches by Blair. Ooh, a nice backside slam onto Cody Rhodes. But as far as the only thing that Blair has going for him is that, Cody Rhodes might look past him, which is always a mistake. And ooh, nice. I forget the name of that move, but and he just rammed his face into the canvas. Excuse me, did Blair onto Cody Rhodes. Oh, nice takedown onto Cody Rhodes. A nice back elbow onto Cody Rhodes. Oh, nice spine buster onto Cody Rhodes. But Cody Rhodes better be careful, though. A nice clothesline onto Blair. Oh, and a nice fist drop onto Blair. I mean, what a huge win that it would be for Blair if he was somehow able to beat the former United States champion. And the former United States champion has not forgotten what happened that night. Oh, look at this. Ooh, nice move on Cody Rhodes. And then a kick to the back of Cody Rhodes. Excuse me. Oh, no, and a rake in the eyes right to Blair. And then a kick right to the back of Blair. Turnabout is fair play, I suppose. Oh, and thrown outside the ring was Blair. But yeah, Blair, as far as I know, is a former oil drill worker. I think that's what it was called. Needless to say, he's an Oiler. And he's also an Oilers fan as well. Oh, and then a kick right to the back of the head of Blair. That'll definitely wake you up. I'm not sure what's going on here. It's kind of like a game of cat and mouse. I'm not sure what that was all about. Oh, but rammed into the steps was Blair. And thrown into the ring was Cody Rhodes. Then an elbow right to the head of Cody Rhodes. But if I know Cody Rhodes, this match is far from over as far as Cody Rhodes is concerned. And I wonder what. Well, yeah, that was a big mistake as far as Blair was concerned. You don't want to make a mistake against Cody Rhodes. That's the last thing you want to do as far as Cody Rhodes is concerned. And wait, what is this? Oh, and a driller right onto the floor onto Cody Rhodes. And thrown back in the ring was Cody Rhodes. And oh, that was a stomp to the gut. Sorry, I had to botch there, but it looks as if Blair has this match in hand. Oh no! Cody Rhodes has been busted open. So if you're Blair, you have got to take advantage of this. Although Cody Rhodes is just fighting on instinct right now, which is what my son was doing, 2 matches ago. Ooh, and then a drop kick onto Cody Rhodes. So, like I said, if you are Brian Blair, you have got to take advantage of this. Anytime you have Cody Rhodes in a compromising position, you have to take advantage. Heck, you got to do that to anybody, really, but especially Cody Rhodes. Oh, no, not even a 1 count, but... Oh, nice counter by Brian Blair. If you're Brian Blair, or actually, no. If you are Cody Rhodes, I should say, excuse me. The only thing you can hope to do is, well, the only thing you can hope, actually, is if Brian Blair makes a mistake, just like that. Well, actually, that wasn't really a mistake, but that's all you have to hope for. And then Cody Rhodes throws him into the barricade, but that didn't do much good. And it looks as if Brian Blair's in the ring. Cody Rhodes makes it to the ring. And a running bulldog onto Brian Blair. Whipped into the corner. And now what's it going to set him up for? No, wait, what's this? Uh-oh. A back superplex from off the top rope onto Cody Rhodes. Is that enough? 1. No, not... That was just a 1 count on Cody Rhodes, but as far as Brian Blair is concerned, you have got to stay on him. You cannot give Cody Rhodes another chance. I mean, you know, because now that I really think about it, that's what happened against many of Cody Rhodes' opponents during that tournament for the United States Championship. Because they all took him too lightly. Powerbomb onto Cody Rhodes. And nope, countered this time by Cody Rhodes. I mean, nothing against Brian Blair, but that was just a great counter. And then thrown outside the ring was Brian Blair. And thrown into the barricade. And wait a minute. Another driller. Another driller. And I just noticed that SlimKirby's actually on the outside of the ring. Ooh, nice. What a ricochet off the post that was on Cody Rhodes. How he's still standing up, I don't know. I'll never know that. And then, well, one right to Brian Blair. Ooh, nice counter onto Brian Blair by Cody Rhodes. I mean, Cody Rhodes is just fighting with everything he has, and now a chin lock on a Cody Rhodes, but you cannot win the match on the outside. You have to win it on the inside. And Cody Rhodes can tap out all he wants. That's not going to get him, that's not going to get Brian Blair the win. Thrown onto the outside again, and then a headbutt right to Cody Rhodes. So now Cody Rhodes is in trouble, and I don't know how he keeps staying up. I mean, a lesser man would have fallen down, but the thing about Cody Rhodes is he has proven to be a much better person than I thought, than a snap suplex. And, it looks as if Brian Blair is pissed, although... Wait, what happened to Brian Blair there? Thrown on the outside was Brian Blair. However, Brian Blair just coming back with a couple of rights to Cody Rhodes. I mean, the man has already lost a lot of blood as it is. But as far as Cody Rhodes is concerned, if I didn't have any respect for him before, I have a lot of respect for him now. Just the fact that he keeps fighting despite the fact that he is hurt far worse than Blair is. And a couple more right hands by Blair. I mean, Bryan has done just about everything to Cody Rhodes, and all that, he's given him more than he can handle. But is that enough? 1, 2, 3, yep. Eventually, Cody Rhodes could not take the punishment anymore. And the winner, and unfortunately my son is not able to witness this, but his best friend, Blair, has defeated the former United States champion, especially in the presence of the current champion, SlimKirby. But for Blair, this is a big, big victory. I mean, this is huge. But, folks, all I have to say is this was an interesting show, but unfortunately my son was unable to be here with me, and as much as I enjoyed calling the show, I only wish my son would have been here, but it's like they always say, you can't always get what you want, but you got to get what you need. So the only thing I need right now is my son, or to be with him, because I'm his father. So folks, forgive me folks for being a bit emotional, but I'm gonna have to go and meet up with my son and check up on his condition. But ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for our show, and I hope you stay tuned next time, okay? Until then, stay tuned for Heat. Hopefully my son will be back by then. Alright. Have a good night, everybody.